Okay, we're live.
Live.
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm so glad you noticed that. That would have really, really stunk.
That would have been a bummer.
Well, for anybody who's watching, I'm Lucas Miller, and I am a children's author and performer based in Austin. And I am interviewing or sharing a conversation, really, with a woman named Nina Stone, who has a great YouTube channel. Why don't I let Nina tell you a little bit about what she does?
Oh, sure. I'm Nina Stone, known as Miss Nina to children and families, and I children's music artist and educator. And I have the Miss Nina weekly video show on YouTube where I do attempt to do a weekly video, although ever since becoming a mother, it's not as weekly as it used to be, but a weekly video of interactive music and movement for young children.
Yeah, my kids are 15 and 18, and I know how much time I put in my YouTube channel. When my kids were little, there was no YouTube.
Right.
So I just can't even imagine trying to keep up with. I struggle to keep up with a monthly schedule. I mean,
Yeah.
The short story here is Nina and I have both been working totally independently on our YouTube channels I've been working for about 4 years, 5 years. I think that's
Yeah,
about
me too. Yeah. About the same.
And we've had, I mean, I'm pretty proud of what I've been able to accomplish. And Nina's got, I'd say you have you have over 9,000 subscribers, right?
Yeah, just inching towards 10,000 now. Woo!
That is awesome.
Thank
We're
you.
going to have a big party when you hit 10,000.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably hit 3,000 this week. And
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be awesome. And I mean, for me, I spend a lot of time, especially when I first started, every video was like this big project. And it was often disappointing when I finally released it and I just wasn't getting a whole lot of views.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what you've been able to do is, I know you say you're struggling to get, a weekly, schedule, keep that going.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that that's one of the secrets of building a viewership and an audience. I mean, this is really, numbers are great, right? Like, I've got 3,000 subscribers. What I'm really interested in is having an audience. I'd rather have 500 people that really love what I do and really stay tuned in than 50,000.
Right.
So tell me have you been doing the weekly schedule from the very beginning?
Yeah, from the very beginning. I mean, I actually sent you some links, which showed you like when I first wanted to do this, and I had the idea, but I was scared, I didn't know what to do. So like my first early on, I did like 3 songs at a time, and I tried it, and then maybe a month or 6 weeks later, I did it again and tried it a little different. But starting in, I think it was January of 2011, I had a new website, and I said, here it is, the new weekly video show, and started doing it weekly then.
Yeah. Well, and tell me about, like, as far as building your audience, what have been some of the big things that have helped you build, that big number? I mean, I had no idea it was going to be this hard.
It's interesting. I started this as about building my email list, not my YouTube viewership. I didn't care at the time because I don't know, I just didn't. And so I was trying to build my email, which I did. I want to say importantly was I had started with about 300 people on my email list, and I'm now getting close to 3,000. And although some of that is from gigs and stuff like that where you get, and the majority is from this.
Yeah.
And it is from, in every single video, I say my website at the beginning, at the end, and I put it in there and tell people, if you would like these videos delivered to your inbox every Tuesday, come on over to mymissnina.com, because it was about getting them on the list. Yeah. But at the same time, what started happening, I guess, as a result, is the weekly consistency of uploading to YouTube, whatever the algorithms are, and also with the kids app coming out and everything, and however it's been working, that weekly consistency was helping grow my subscription base.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that, we joked, we met at a conference last week called KindyCom. And one of the first things you said was like, oh, I'm trying to increase my production value. And I only somewhat jokingly said, I'm trying to decrease mine.
Right.
Because, I mean, if you look, I mean, if you look at my videos, I mean, the music videos for the most part, every one of them represents like 75 to 200 hours of work,
Wow.
and you can't sustain that.
No.
You certainly can't do, I mean, unless that's your full-time job, or if you have a crew of video producers, you can't do that. So I've been trying to, um, actually do simpler things. I still want to do the fancy stuff because I like it, and it's fun, and I like the finished product. But in the end, I think I need to stick more to that schedule of like, okay, there's something up every week, and every once in a while, that one thing is like dazzling.
Right. Right.
Well, let's just so we've kind of talked about where we're coming from. I mean, I'm basically a science educator. I used to work at a zoo, and I started using music and stories to kind of teach what I do. This is before the internet, basically. I started in
Right.
1990. I mean, my first gig doing anything with music and kids was 1992. And I moved to Austin in 93. I worked at the zoo for about a year and a half. People liked what I was doing, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to make a career because I was just getting paid so poorly. So
Right.
I started my own business, and then I started using, I was always using music, but that it became a bigger and bigger part of what I do. And to make a long story short, I started including, like, I would have a computer and a projector. So when I'm singing about monarch butterflies, I can show a picture of a monarch butterfly. So they, because not everybody knows what they look like.
Right. Right. Yeah.
To see like the pictures of them, festooning the trees in Mexico is just like, oh my gosh, look at that. The kids go,
Right.
whoa. So
Right.
it made a big difference in my performances. And then when YouTube came along, I had already been doing some kind of rudimentary video stuff. So that's kind of where I came along, and somebody said, well, just sing your songs and show the video, show the images that you're showing in your live shows.
Right.
So that's kind of what I started with. But I like what you said yesterday. It was yesterday. We were talking about, what we want to say here. And you said, YouTube needs us. And I would like you just to expound upon that a little bit and tell us why YouTube needs us.
Well, similar to the kind of indie or the indie kids music world, in the music world out there, there's like a ton of corporate music, if to call it. I love Disney. I do, honestly. But I know it's not always cool to say that. I do love them, but they're a much bigger animal, right? And so there isn't, we've like gotten out there and let that there's great independent kids music being out there. There's things that it's just about the music or everybody's own personal message or what have you. Yeah. So as now a mother of a young child who we stream, we don't have TV, we just stream Netflix, Amazon, and YouTube. I am, as an audience member, watching her watch some videos, not too much, but the videos come up, and it is animation after animation after animation out of bigger studios. I don't really know. They're not necessarily Disney and things like that, honestly, but there are people on YouTube who know that animation gets the kids and that these thumbnails and this sort of thing, they kind of hook them in, and the kids are watching this very passively. Some of it's, in my opinion, it's just not great. And one of the things that she keeps getting hooked on is like, and God bless them because they are geniuses for doing this, but at the same time, like, the surprise eggs. I don't know if you've seen this. They'll be like
a little bit, but tell me exactly what you're seeing in that.
They open eggs that they might be eggs with Play-Doh on them, and of like in the shape of a character from something. So so they see the character, and then they open the egg, and they open the egg, and there's a toy in it, and it's almost like unboxing videos.
Yeah.
But and they'll open. It'll be like 25 surprise eggs, 100 surprise eggs, and just 15 minutes of opening these eggs.
I haven't seen that.
It drives me bonkers. And anytime like she sees it, she's like, I want that. And I'm like, that one's broken. Anyway, so all this to say,
enjoy that while you can.
Right? What'd you say? Enjoy. No. But all this to say that as both a mom and then also as a performer and educator, part of my thing is that I believe in engagement. I don't want the kids just to passively watch me. I do move along, sing along stuff to engage at least their minds, if not their bodies, so that if they are inside for whatever reasons, they're still, you know, getting into it. There's some brain development happening and that sort of thing. Anyway, so there's all these bigger corporations, bigger things doing this, and YouTube needs us, needs our content, needs our original human contact, whatever it is, whether or not you're in the video or not. If you do animation, I have nothing against animation. There's just this sort of computer generated stock animation that doesn't do much for the kids. Yeah, so I'm going on too long about it, but I think
no, I really, you know, there's a great book I was going to refer people to that came out, I think, in the last couple of months called The YouTube Black Book. It's by a guy who was living here in Austin, and he got so big, he and his wife are now in LA.
Oh, wow.
They created a channel called Hyla Cooking. And another one called Yoga with Adrienne. I'm not sure how to say it. Anyway, he's this, you know, he was an SEO guy, and he's got this book. It's an ebook, but if it were a real book, it would be about that thick, and it's just like packed full of goodies.
Yeah.
And he said that when he was getting started, he went into this, like, they have these, like, I guess kind of like businesses where people who want to make videos can go in and they can make their video if they don't have their own equipment and stuff. And this guy was talking about how, well, you know, YouTube's done as far as like the little people being able to get into it because, you know, the big broadcasters are already putting all their money and they understand how big it's going to be. But he said they're not getting it. They're not getting what you're talking about, which is like, this is not just TV on demand. This is something a little different. It's like you actually are forming, like, it's this fourth wall thing, you know, breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
And actually talking directly to your viewers, which I see you do a lot.
Yeah.
Have you had a lot of feedback on that from your fans?
Well, my fans are very little, so it's, you know, via their parents. I do get great feedback. Most of the time, it's two things. It's either like, my kid loves you, we watch you on repeat, which is lovely, and it must be because of the engagement. You know, it's because there's a few other people on there doing similar stuff, but I think there's, you know, there's personalities you connect with, some more than others or whatever, and in these cases, they're connecting with me. And the other thing about the thing people I hear about from a lot, which absolutely touches me, moves me, and I want to do something with this, and I don't know what yet, but I get a lot from parents of hospitalized children and children going through who are medically fragile or whatever, who are saying, thank you, you're helping my child. They're in the hospital bed and they're just watching you, and you're bringing a smile to their face, and I couldn't be. It's so moving and so touching to be able to do that. And I think likewise, it's the human element, not just the sit back and entertainment.
Yeah, it's that sense, and you know, we have really different audiences. I mean, my specialty is like, I mean, is really like 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. And that's awesome. Just a totally different animal, you know.
Yeah, I know.
It's a totally different animal, but I love, you know, that when I watch your videos, I love that, like, I can totally picture the kid being like, yeah, like talking back to you, like, who out there is 3 years old? And they'd be like, I'm 3 years old. You know? And I don't, you know, if I said, who out there is 12 years old? Like, click.
Right.
Bring me an Easter egg video, please.
Right.
You know, or like I told the kids yesterday, it's really funny. I was at yesterday or the day before, I was at a school,
Mhm.
and you know, when I tell them I've got a YouTube channel,
Mhm.
they'll say, you know, well, how many subscribers do you have? And, you know, how do you, you know, and when I tell them I have 3,000, like they get it. They're like, wow, you know,
Right.
that's a lot, because they're putting up videos of them playing games and can't even get their friends to subscribe.
Right. Right.
I told them, I said, you know, if you like, you want a video, if you want to maybe build a channel, instead of just like, hey, watch me playing a video game, how about you call it like, this is how to get past the water temple in Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, the thing that I've learned is like, you're trying to help somebody. Like your videos are about helping people. And even if it's just like, if you've made a music video, think about, you know, who that music video is for. You know,
Mhm.
I was talking to Verid. Have you met Verid?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And you know, we that first night we were talking about, you know, YouTube and playlists,
Right.
and you know, she's got just such amazing stuff. And you know, I said, what if you made a playlist of like, that's called like music to sing to your baby,
Yeah.
because all these new parents are like music for new parents or something
Mhm.
like that. Like, so many people go on YouTube and they search for things, and you know, you need to think about, for whom are you the right video, you
And
know?
that's actually one thing I want to comment on, kind of getting back to some nuts and bolts. First of all, how-tos are huge. Because of when I hit 5,000 subscribers, I became an official YouTube creator with access to the YouTube studios in New York City. And so I've gotten to go to special panels and trainings and things like that. That I haven't gone to a lot
Yeah,
because that's life.
you
But
got kids.
right, exactly.
Young
But
stuff.
a couple things about that. One of them was talking about how in the age bracket that you're talking about, right, older than mine. First of all, like how-to videos are like whether it's how to hit this level in this game or Minecraft or whatever, or if it's, you know, this one mom went on, she wasn't thinking of being a video person, but she made a video of how to make these like special bracelets, whatever was really hip at the time, and like through the roof, like, you
Wow.
know, she's got this crazy popular channel. And so how-tos are great, and remind me to talk about brands in just a second, but in relation to that, but the keywords are really important to how you get found, which was, you know, this sort of miraculous lesson to me. It's very, very simple, but this miraculous lesson to me when I first learned about this, because, you know, I was gonna tag my videos like Miss Nina sings la la la, you know, Miss Nina, you know, because of course I want them to know it's me and search me, and I'm doing it for marketing for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's free anymore, but you used to be able to go to Google keyword
Mm-hmm.
and put in keywords and search, and find out how many people are searching. And at the time, so like, how many people are searching Miss Nina? 1,081. How many people today are searching children's music? 400,026, you know?
Yeah.
So you go, oh, if I either title or keyword tag my video
Mm-hmm.
with what people are searching for, they're more likely to find me, even though they have no idea who I am, you know? And so that's super important to do, like how to, you know, make it a how to catch a caterpillar. Well, I'm sure you don't things like that, but whatever. And then also, you know, children's music, kids music, or mine are tagged toddler, preschool. Yours might be K through 3 if teachers are searching, librarian. You know, I think that's super important.
Yeah, and so you're talking the actual, like the tags, and not the video title or the description, or do you
It's
just
kind
tag
of
them
both.
everywhere?
It's kind of both. It's kind of, I thought too, I mean, in my head, it was the tags that were super important, but they, at one of those panels, explained that like also the title almost also has to have the keywords.
Mm-hmm.
So that it might be like, you know, children's music dash, and then like the song title, and then dash. And then if you put like, even if you're like episode 21, that way people kind of know it's several, and they'll come back to see other episodes.
Yeah.
Like that's one way to do too, so that they know you have a series and you have more videos. And then under it, also put those same words in the tags, and then other words like I also put in mine nursery rhymes, Mother Goose, because perhaps that's what other people are searching for too.
Yeah, I wonder if people are searching for like music for 3-year-olds,
right,
for 4-year-olds,
right, yeah.
There's a big difference there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm not sure. I should probably go back and revisit the Google keyword thing and just see like what's being really searched these days.
Yeah, I mean, my experience has, when I started, I called it throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Right.
I had a couple of things that I made a DVD in 2009, which was very well reviewed, and then the whole DVD industry completely crashed. It was so sad.
Yeah.
So I just took some of that stuff from the DVD and I was like, I'm just going to put this on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I started throwing stuff up there. And the first couple things I threw up, first was the song called Metamorphosis. And then in the parentheses, the title was Tadpole into a Frog.
Okay.
And then it was like by Lucas Miller, the singing zoologist. And that song, that's still the most popular song that I have.
Right.
And it took me a while to figure out that like it's not the video really, it's that title, that because teachers go on and they search for metamorphosis for kids, tadpoles and frogs or whatever it is.
Right.
And then I made this, like, I mean, one day I had a friend who made his own little stop motion animation software, which now it's on, his is not, unfortunately, but that kind of stuff is on iPads very easily.
Right.
But at the time it was kind of new. And so I just cut out some construction paper flowers and a bee. And I made this little video about pollination. And again, it was like, wow. And it took me like a year to really figure out, like, it's that they're looking for that. Because if I type in, if I title my video, Lucas Miller sings the, I'm a Mako shark, nobody's really I mean, if they're searching for Lucas Miller, then they already know who I am anyway.
Right.
I want them to discover me. So I just don't even put my name. You have such limited space in the title. I just take my name out of that.
Yeah.
They'll I mean, if they type in Lucas Miller, I'm easy to find.
Right.
So I put up this song called I'm a Mako. The song is called I'm a Mako Shark, but it's about ocean food chains. And so I called it Ocean Food Chain Song, marine biology for kids. I mean, if you look at the title, it's like, but it pulls in viewers. And now that's one of my I think right now my third most popular video is
so cool.
Today. It'll be my third most popular video.
Right.
So, that's one of the lessons I try to communicate to like the KindyCon people is like, I know, we want people to find us.
Right.
We want them to hear our music.
Right.
If you put your name in there, they already know who you are. If they're searching for Lucas Miller, then I already did my job. Part of what I'm using YouTube for is to, get new people,
Yeah. That's interesting too. Again, when I started it was just that, I mean, I'm also like, I'm a performer. My master's degree is in educational theater. I would obviously love to be on a kids TV show or a host or something like that. That's something I would love to do. So this was kind of like, well, nobody's calling me for it, so I'm just going to kind of do it right now.
Yeah.
And so in doing so, though, I was like, okay, what's some content? So at first I'm doing Wheels on the Bus, Twinkle Twinkle, things like that, because although I have music of my own, I want to be able to do a lot of content, and a lot of things that they want to sing along to. So I started with that. Well, then kind of reverse engineering, like as far as like looking at it, kind of realizing, like what part of the reason also my viewership grew pretty quick is that I'm doing some of the top searched kids songs. Yeah. It wasn't intentional, but now I'm like, I can't tell you how many people search Wheels on the Bus.
Yeah.
So anybody can do that. And like, there's no shortage. There's no shortage in need for Wheels on the Bus videos, everybody. Like,
I got one.
Just because somebody did one doesn't mean you can't do it too, because the kids want to see, the kids who like Wheels on the Bus need, 3 hours. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a playlist for you. 5 straight hours of the Wheels on the Bus.
There is, I mean, speak of that, There's this one animation. I can't remember who it is, what it is, but they do the Wheels on the Bus song with a yellow bus, an orange bus, it's the exact same video, and
Oh
they
my God.
change the color of the bus.
Wow.
In every bit. I mean, and the kid's like, I want the green bus now the pink bus. It works as far for them as far as views and monetization, making money. But interesting. But all this to say, so if you're looking to build, for instance, I mean, this is more for my age group than for your age group, but I'm sure there's a similar thing, like you're saying, if you're, find in your niche, whatever sort of the top searched things are, and do those to first build your audience and then present your own stuff.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I mean, to go back to this Mako Shark song is, you do one of your most popular songs, I think, is the Baby Shark song.
Yeah.
And so people type in shark song, and
Right.
I don't have Baby Shark song, but my video comes up, and I think in some ways, like, YouTube likes having, I mean, look, YouTube is a bunch of computer algorithms,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There's no person that likes or dislikes anything, but
Right.
one thing you can use to your advantage is if I think it tends to suggest several options, like,
Yes.
oh, do you want that shark song? No, maybe you're looking for this shark song. So in a way, it's like if there's 10 versions of, Baby Shark,
Yeah.
there's one that's like, I'm gonna make a shark. Like that's mine. They want that variety. So
Yeah.
I think they design algorithms to pull in things. So my point is, like, okay, so maybe you do a song that's on a similar topic, like, maybe yours is something else about buses. I don't know.
The bus song, and it's not the Wheels on the Bus, but
yeah.
for sure.
So and the other thing is, like, I found that on YouTube, they'll tell you, like, what your search terms are, and ocean food chain is one of them, but the other one is like sharks swimming in the ocean. Like, a bunch of people type in sharks swimming in the ocean.
Yes, right.
Like, who does that? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, although if you look at my search history, I'm sure it's like cephalopods opening jars. Like, who searches for that?
Right.
Right. Really smart octopuses.
Amazing.
I like that. I'm on it. Anyway, but yeah, it's like what you'll find is, when I found that, like, people are searching for sharks swimming in the ocean, and, like, sharks for kids, then you can, like, add that as a tag.
Right.
So I mean, I don't want this to turn into too much of this SEO stuff, because I really think it's like, like I said, I got into video because I felt like it helped me teach better.
Right.
And when I'm singing a song and I'm showing a picture, like, brain research shows that works. And so for me, like, I'm totally in that game. I'm going to add video because it helps me teach better. And, so from an artistic perspective, and that's me. And it sounds like for you, it's like this element of, like, you're interacting with the kids, and it gives you that direct connection. And I see, that's why I love these conversations, because that just, I don't do that really. And I think, even though my audience is different, I think I need to, like, try that more.
Yeah, like, just acknowledge it, because I think, I'm not saying, like, yeah, do my thing. I'm just saying in general, like, for the younger-ish, not my younger kids, but the kids watching,
Right.
they're super into the vloggers, the people who talk, whether it's about makeup or it's about Minecraft or whatever, they like that they're being talked to about something.
Yeah.
So if you can combine it, I think. Yeah, of course, I don't know. I'm not the trend watcher or anything, but.
No, but I mean, it's pretty clear, like, if you spend some time doing this and you spend some time talking to kids, what they like, and when you have kids, my kids are, the stuff they watch it's a lot of it is gaming stuff, and my daughter says, like, I know, I know these people, they're like my friends,
right.
So I think that's the beauty of YouTube, and I think that's the one thing that I don't think the big corporations are ever going to get. I think there's always going to be that space for us to, like, make videos that speak directly to kids.
Yeah. And as a matter, so that's the thing about brands I was going to tell you. This is like, I can't think about this too much because then it just sends me out of where my heart is
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
this. But it was interesting to go to these. So YouTube holds these happy hours and stuff for creators, so you go to them and it's kind of funny because I feel so, on the one hand, so old,
Oh,
right?
you
And
feel old, huh?
yeah, I do. Well, I feel old and compared to the typical YouTube creator, and also young in that my audience is so young. Like it's two ends of the spectrum. But nevertheless, what's going on there a lot of times is that companies who are all about connecting YouTubers with brands show up here because there's this whole business within this of super, popular YouTubers who have an audience of brands wanting to work with them, whether it's here's $50,000 to wear our shirt in your video, or can you do a craft with this, but whatever it is, there's this whole thing. And this one woman was, telling me, and I don't know how true it is, but she was just telling me she's about that our market, the parents of kids, especially like when I was there, even not even my market, but more your market, if there is actually this distinction between the parents of young children and the parents of like tweens and like, or 7 to whatever, that like to get, like, somebody was there that had a crafty thing that they wanted to like get some YouTuber who had that audience of those 7 to 12-year-olds to do on there. Like they were going to pay, I don't know, like there's just this thing going on where these advertisers want our parental audience so bad, and they're trying to go about it these ways, but they do somewhat know that this sort of interaction that we have, this human thing, is where it's at. And so they're trying to, that's kind of one thing. So these people are showing up at these happy hours hoping to get schmoozed and find that big brand who wants to sort of sponsor them. I don't know who this happens for. Nobody's called me, but apparently this is a thing too,
Yeah, I've heard that, and that's and again, to go back to this book, the YouTube, it's called the YouTube Black Book. I'm not sure if I said that. It's by this guy named Christopher Sharp, and he said like they were just like absolutely adamant, like that this is all about building trust and building a relationship. And he said, if you ever do anything that sells out your audience, you're going to lose them.
Right. Yeah.
And so he said that there are certain things like it's a cook. They're very funny. This Cooking with Hyla show. She's very funny, and she's makes these. Their original idea was like, we're going to show people how to make a really good cup of coffee, and we're going to show people how to fry an egg, because like they knew like most of their friends were like just basically starting out life, and they didn't know how to do a lot of this stuff.
Right.
Which is a great idea. I mean, it's a great idea, and especially to be, he's a filmmaker and she's an actress. She's lovely and she's funny as she can be. But she like makes stuff with Jell-O. She loves making Jell-O stuff. And so he was like, okay, so when Jell-O said, we'll give you money to, make some Jell-O stuff, they're like, okay, because we're going to do it anyway.
Right.
So for what it's worth. And I'm, I'm not there, nobody's approached me on any of that kind of stuff. And I think my audience is a bit, somebody's going to figure out that my audience is teachers, and teachers, they love it, but it's really hard to get that, I don't know. I've had a hard time getting that audience. It's happening.
Yeah. Do you offer so the other thing, I mean, we're kind of going all over the place, and I know this isn't on topic of what we were going to talk about, but there's also things about sort of building your business, building out other new aspects of your business because of video. Do you offer anything like Skype sessions with schools and things like that as a result of them connecting?
A little bit. Video? Yeah, I mean, I do. I mean, I've offered that. I really got to figure out the tech, because what happened at the beginning of this video, our first attempt, was like this infinite loop back, and it was awful. I had another school where I won't bore you with it, but the tech was challenging.
Yeah.
So what I, basically what I've been doing is, I do school visits like crazy, like
Yeah.
in-person school visits, and that's where I've made a living for 20 some odd years. And I love it. I
Yeah.
absolutely love school groups. It's what, if I could just do school groups, that's all I would do.
Yeah.
And I pretty much do. There's a couple other things,
Yeah.
but as far as like the YouTube thing for me, I mean, one of the things that I was gonna make sure we said, and if anybody's listening to this whole conversation, congratulations. We're rambling and roaming. But I mean, for me, I think there's three things that I try to do with my YouTube channel. And one is like, I want people to see what these visits are like.
Mhm.
I want them to see me in a school, see the kids' expressions. That's a whole other thing we'll talk about another time, is how to get clearance to film in a school, because that can be complicated.
Right.
And so that they can go, okay, we want this guy, but before we hire him, I want to make sure he actually, is going to make our kids happy.
Right.
So like you can see the kids are like singing along and they're happy.
Yeah.
And I think, the mistake that I think I made, first of all, was like the first thing I put on YouTube, and YouTube is brand new. I spent a bunch of money making like the biggest, fanciest music video I could afford. And it's
Which I
beautiful.
still want to do, but
Well, this is why I was saying, like, I'm actually trying to bring down my production, level,
Right.
because like I spent all this money and then we put it up and nobody watched it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's now it's picked up a little bit. It's about monarch butterfly migrations, and so I mean, it's called the monarch butterfly song. It's, I've got people who have listened to it around the country, and I knew it was the song of mine that had reached the most people,
Right.
and I just thought it would take off, and it just didn't. Um, Having said that, I really also like having. I think you need a video that shows you live, and the production quality doesn't matter so much,
Right.
but that's to kind of get you the gig. And then if your gig is a performance hall or a festival or a library, they want to show their potential audience who's coming, and they want to show them something nice. That's where
Right.
your big budget video, I think, has a real place.
Yeah.
And like when I um, basically, there's a roster of performing artists in Texas, and I think most states have this kind of roster.
Mm.
And when I got on that made a gigantic difference in my career. That was when I was like, oh, I'm going to be able to make a living. This is going to be a long-term thing.
Right.
And they want, like, they look at the quality of your work, but there are people who've got great quality of work, but they don't have a good video, or
Yeah.
they don't have a good website, and they don't get on this roster just because of that. And that seems like such a shame to me. But there's what they say is like, look, again, getting the gig is great, but they need to be able to fill the seats, and they need to have something that does look good, so that they can say, here's who's coming to
Mhm.
Bass Concert Hall. Not that I've ever.
No, right. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, from a marketing standpoint, like video is one of the most powerful tools right now.
Yeah.
And sorry, something just popped up here. One of the most powerful tools, totally. And honestly, even though I have hundreds of videos now of the Miss Nina Weekly Video Show, I don't really have a reel, as it were, a performance reel to show for as it were, a trailer.
Yeah.
For which is my next project right now. Is like I need that because I'm just trying to put myself out there more to schools and that sort of thing. Since this is what I do, and I'm connecting with them online. You're right. Next step is put the money into a.
Well, what I would congratulate you on is you're doing it in the right order, which is like, first you build this, you've built your body of work, you've built your audience, and I mean, it looks like you've done this mostly. I mean, are they webcam or like a point?
MacBook Pro, just like what I'm on right now. It's just like me looking at myself. I don't even use a mic because at one point I did, I think my very first video, and it came out really tinny sounding because nothing else matched up to, I don't have the other software. So I just do MacBook Pro, and I do iMovie to edit. And the thing I've just really learned to somewhat work on is like lighting to help me. But beyond that.
Yeah, well, I would say, I mean, lighting and sound. And I think the real hallmark of, the amateur video is like that real echoey sound. And hopefully I don't have that going right now
But you
because
don't. I might, but you know.
no, I mean, if you can really, really, really hear the room that you're in the finished video,
Uh-huh.
that's a distraction.
Yeah.
And lighting as well. Now, I saw like a makeup video channel, like she was talking about how she had started and she's now got gajillions of subscribers. And she said, I bought like a clamp on light
Mm-hmm.
from Home Depot and like some kind of like decent bulb. And then she put a piece of like tissue paper in front of her. Well, that
Yeah.
would probably caused a fire, but
Right.
something to soften the light a little bit. And she's like, now I've got stuff. But again, I think you're doing it in the right order, which is like, start with what you have, build a lot of stuff, make a lot of stuff, get a sense of like what people like, what people don't like,
Yeah.
and then make your big budget video.
Because I would say honestly too, I know that grown-ups out there, us grown-ups, and people in media might judge amateur video, but when it comes to these kids and even teachers and librarians, content really is king. And if
Yep.
what you're delivering is really of value and really what they're looking for,
Yeah.
then they will be forgiving of other aspects. Maybe not sound, but
no, they are.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, for me, it's like, these stuff up here and over there, like
Yeah.
those things were really pretty cheap, and you don't need to plaster the whole room. I need a little bit more, but you don't need to plaster the whole room with that. You can put
Right.
up, for $150. I have a pretty big, this is my studio. It's 20 by
That's awesome.
18 or something like that. It's big, and I've got different stations. But if you just have like one room that you're making stuff in, you can, get this stuff off of Amazon
Right.
pretty cheap. And like the lights, these things, like I
Uh-huh.
bought a kit from, again, Amazon with a green screen over
Right.
there.
Uh-huh.
For
Uh-huh.
like, the whole kit was like $150.
I know. Yeah.
So you can do this yourself. I mean, it takes patience, but again, like you're doing it without, I have to do all this post-production stuff. When you use a green screen,
Right.
it
Oh,
should be easy. It's not that easy.
I'll tell you, quite honest, just as a little, like, I did buy a green screen finally because I was like, I want to try that. It's enormous and it pops open and then pops closed or whatever. And then I'd been using these, just lights from the house to put on, like, to use. And I was like, I'm going to go get these clamp lights from Home Depot. And they aren't that expensive, like people say.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, a whole new learning curve with a green screen. Whole new learning curve with the lighting of the green screen, the editing with the green screen. And if you go see my channel, you can see the handful of times I've used it, and it's pretty terrible. I'm keeping them there because they're out there, but that's a whole other learning curve.
This is nobody's gonna be better than Pixar when it comes to animation.
So true.
And anything you do, if you try to be like 3D render, like that kind of like that kind of animation, it's just gonna come off as like, yeah, sorry, it didn't quite work.
Yeah.
I think more and more for me, it's like, keep it simple. Like, I'm not a big production studio,
Right.
and I don't think maybe one day I'll be able to have a couple people help me, but you don't need it. I mean, my whole thing is like, just the tools are basically in everybody's pocket. If you've got an iPhone, you can make a video. It's what you're saying, which is content. If it's something that somebody needs or something somebody's looking for, you got it. You got the recipe.
Totally.
I'm looking at our notes. Oh, the only other thing, let's see. A couple of things I was going to mention. So as far as like, we were talking about community building, I mean, for me, I do these school visits, as I said. My mission as a person, as a singing zoologist, is I'm trying to get people, I want them to have a fun experience with science.
Right.
And I want them to, like, I want kids to have an opportunity to keep learning with me. And so that was really what I was, my focus right now is like making videos that they can keep watching. I'm making a series called Speaking Scientifically, where I just basically jump up and say, this is what a vertebrate is, and this is what a reptile is, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm trying to make it so that they can continue to be a continuing relationship. And I guess that's really what you're, you're doing that in a different way. But I think this whole weekly thing is like, you're basically becoming like a member of their family,
Right.
you know? And I think for me, it's like, I've always struggled with like, I got in this to make kids a lot, you know, to basically get kids into the environment, get kids into science. Hopefully they'll help participate in solving some of these problems that we have on our planet.
Right.
And it's pretty tough to do that in 45 minutes. I mean, I've had kids who, you know, it used to be they'd go home with a CD or a book, and they still go home with books, but CDs are just, you know,
Yeah.
my CD sales have dropped by at least 75%.
Okay. Yeah.
And so they don't have that, you know, when I leave, they don't have anything to keep that relationship going. So YouTube is helping me with that.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of my goals, as like, if you really want to make, if you're really in this to like make kids' lives better in some way, I
Right.
think YouTube is a good vehicle for that.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. And then the other thing is like, um, as far as social media goes, again, your kids are so young, like they can't, most of them read and write yet. You know, and again, I mean, I've been at this so long, and like, obviously I predate social media. And when it first came along, I was like, I don't know how parents are going to be with like their kids
Right.
signing up on Facebook and like sending messages to the strange man that came to their school.
Right.
And so I have a public page, and if a kid ever like asks to like for a friend request for my, you know, personal page, I'll just kind of ignore it. Unfortunately, I
Right.
feel like I have to. But for me, like, so YouTube is the social media. They don't really use Facebook anyway. They don't really use Twitter. They don't really
Right.
use. They use Instagram. They do like that.
Right.
But YouTube is the social media platform of kids.
Yeah.
And I do you screen do you get a lot of comments? What do you do with comments?
I don't get a. If you are a person who can type a comment, it's usually someone who shouldn't be watching my channel and is leaving a really mean comment. Or now and then though, or it's an adult child with special needs who's leaving comments, so I do try and talk back to them. But my comment situation is interesting. Now and then I have an adult, you know, to leave me a lovely message about what I'm doing for their kid, and that's wonderful. Or other performers, because there's an element, I think comment engagement helps with the algorithm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So like I have this one video. This is just a funny story. I know we should probably wrap up soon, so I'll tell it real quick. That I have this one llama for happy llama, sad llama, totally rad llama, super llama. It's just silly camp chant, right?
Right.
Some vlogger named Twaimz, TWAIMZ, did this a video. He loves llamas. And somewhere in his span of vlogging did a thing where he was doing it, and then he got an idea, and he put on this background music, and he does this like provocative dancing there. He sings happy llama, sad llama, totally, and it's just like, it's hilarious, very clever, awesome, has 18 million hits, literally. His my llama comes up because of the algorithm, first of all, I guess. Related videos, they come see it and write the most hateful things. I can't even believe it. I'm terrified for my daughter to grow up in this world, because they write the worst things about me, to me, how I'm doing it wrong, I better watch out, all this stuff. But nevertheless, it keeps the popularity of this video up because they're commenting. And I'm laughing all the way to the bank because
I'm happy that most of my kids are old enough to comment, and I go to these schools and I say, you know, when you go home, if you like that song, why, I've got a video for it, and watch it. And if you know, they're like, and like they'll ask questions, and at the end of the show, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm out of questions, but if you write to me on my channel or one of my videos, I monitor it, and you'll hear from me. And most of them are nice. Most of them are nice. Occasionally you get somebody who is not nice. And what I always tell them is I'll say, thank you, because YouTube doesn't care. Like I always say, you know, YouTube does not care, or even know for that matter, whether you're saying something nice or not nice. All they know is you reacted to my video.
Right.
So help me. Thank you. And I never hear from them again.
Yeah.
But I mean, I will be the first to say, I have the, there's a way you can approve comments. Cause my first stuff that went up, some kid, like, I don't know what I did, but this kid just hated me. And he like sent everything, like he'd send like once a week, he'd like write some horrible mean thing. And I'm like, God, what did I do? And so I just turned on the, every comment must be approved.
Oh, that's good.
And when somebody says something mean, I just don't approve it.
There's also, I learned this thing. So there's a thing on YouTube just for you and for anybody watching, the Creator Hub. Are you familiar with this, right? And you can go watch all of these videos about analytics and this and that and how-tos and things. Anyway, so there's one of them is about this, but I'd heard it at a panel. In the community links under your channel, and you go to the community, there's I think it's called a blacklist of your own. Mm-hmm. And on your blacklist, you can put in certain words that are, first of all, are not allowed on your channel.
That's great.
But what happens, so if somebody types them in, they don't get flagged or anything like that. They can see their comment on your page, so they feel satisfied, but nobody else can see it.
Oh, that's
if they've used any language that you didn't, that's on your blacklist.
That's brilliant.
Isn't that great?
Who thought that? Like, this is where, like, I was just talking to somebody about, like, why can't you do this on an iPhone? Those guys ought to be smarter than this. And then we went, oh, there's a way to do this on the iPhone. And it's like, I want to be smarter than them, and I'm not. Very smart people doing this stuff. And,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, you're right. We need to wrap it up. But I think this is, I think this is a really fun platform. And, you talked about wanting your own show. And my lesson, I actually, God, I mean, in my second year of business, Bill Nye's show came on. So he's actually been at it a little bit longer than I have, but I started before anybody knew who he was. So people are always like, oh, you're like Bill Nye. And I'm like, I love Bill Nye. Bill Nye's show got canceled after like 3 seasons. It won an Emmy. And I mean, Bill Nye still has a career because he had that show. But I also believe that, he doesn't he doesn't get anything today when people watch his videos through the streaming services. I think Disney.
Right. Yeah.
So my thing was like, that was early on. People say, oh, don't you want a TV show? And I was like, oh man, if Bill Nye can't make it work, I don't think I can make it work. I mean,
right.
He's so good. That production team was amazing. And so I just always shied away from television, but now we have YouTube. And now like I get to do my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
and that's like, I get to do it on my terms. I get to talk about what I want to talk about. Nobody's saying, why are you doing a video on convection currents? That doesn't have anything to do with animals. And I'm like, because convection currents are amazing. And I think people need to see them. And it's just cool. So, when you go from, what you want to create and you put it out there and all the other stuff is like, well, you'll figure it out. You'll figure out like the tagging and the, comment stuff. Do like what you love, what speaks to you. And then the rest of it, if you work hard, if you keep your ear to the ground, it doesn't happen automatically, but that's the place to start is what do I love to do? And then make those videos.
Yeah, I agree. Here.
Awesome. So what we're going to do is I'm going to post a bunch of, this is going to be on my YouTube channel, I think. And I'm going to post links to the videos that there you go, you provided. And I'm going to put a couple of mine. I'll put a link to your website, link to your YouTube
those
channel.
links we can edit them or talk about them. They were like kind of to show the growth of the channel, the things where it went from like me not really knowing anything to a little bit more, and then just some of my most popular ones, including the Twames one. Yeah. The llama one that has all the mean comments.
Well, I am sorry that you had to deal with that because it's like people get so mean.
I know.
And I think that a lot of people are afraid of putting themselves out there because of that. And I get it. I get it. I mean, I've had my haters too.
Yeah. But you know what? They're 15 years old, these kids. They must be. Like there's if they're older than that, geez. But like
yeah, I was, yeah, you wouldn't, nobody liked me when I was 15. So, I mean, this is, 15-year-olds, it gets better, all right? And they're all going to like you a lot more when you're...
You don't have to spend your day hating on a 45-year-old woman doing children's music.
Your brain is still developing, and it will get better. Okay. So anyway, you don't have all your brain yet. So I mean, for what I was going to say is like for every hater I've had, amazing, like people like, this woman found me from India and she's like, I love your stuff. And, my daughter watches you and, when are you coming out with another video? And we're coming to the States and we're going to show up at a show and my battery's just about to die. So I really better stop talking.
Oh, okay. So more to come, right?
Yeah. We'll keep up. We'll do another one sometime soon. Nina, thank you. You are awesome. Keep up.
You are awesome. Thank you, Lucas.
Take care.
All right. Bye.